Okay, so here we have the entrances and some buildings, some border buildings that will, because you were talking about, we're gonna need something to bound out the outer perimeter to restrict gameplay. This is the first this is the really, really intricate one. And notice they've got, kind of a dilapidated, singed almost texture on them. And with lighting, they come out with a little bit more. They bring out a little bit more of the dust look to them. This one has an area light on it that brings out a little more, right here. Brings out a little more of the dust and the corrosion. With these, you'll also they can be. Also kind of you can increase the normal map on them to even make them even more damaged, so they can be so some can be somewhat damaged and some can be almost obliterated just from increase. Even newer, they can be more newer into really, really, really damaged. That'll help give a little variance to what we have. Let's take a look at them. Okay, so you have some the temple bounding buildings, more of a temple bounding building, and then you have these. This was the item that was to the they had the bounding wall, which is separate, and this can then be duplicated over and over and over again, making a bounding wall. We can make depending on what you think, we can make a ton of these, which I would suggest because they're a little lighter. These are all single. Everything's broken up, and each one, these have just single textures, because what I've read and what I understand now is that loading in the textures is what's not. The polygons, sure, these are quite a bit heavy in polygon. Not too bad. I made them as simple as they possibly could be, but and still give them a nice look. They're going to be on the outskirts, so that's good too, for the look of them. Anything that's going to be in play, probably want to put a little bit more detail on, but these will. These can be placed right up flush next to one another. I made them so they can be kind of flushed up next to one another. These can be just built and built and built and built as much as we want. These got some buildings that can add variance to it, and also some corners too. So in case in gameplay there's some corners that we run into, a damaged one, and then we can kind of, this is a pretty large set of them, and you'd be surprised at what kind of variance can be achieved. In fact, I built for this guy, because you said this is just two pieces, and you said you wanted an outcropping, like a rock outcropping behind it. So what I did was I built a little set to show you how we can implement more. Let's turn off the I needed the alt light on so I could show you some of the details. But see, when you start building, it comes in quite spectacularly. And then there's the rock outcropping, and kind of a see how easily it will be to build like gameplay. These can also be cut. These can also be very easily cut in half, even doubled up on buildings. Like we can do that later if we find them, the back sides just not being used. If we're not using the back sides, I would suggest, and a lot of the times the back sides won't even be seen. So like on these, this backside, this whole big backside on this isn't even going to be seen. So we can actually build from here, and I can cut these in, make whole sets of these cut in half so they have no back. They'll be thin. That will also very nicely lower any kind of, because it's the textures that are going to be the load. That's going to be the big load. The polygons, not so much. Textures are going to be the load. So if we can add a couple of these and then turn them into halves, and then double up on the halves so we get more height from them, well then, hallelujah to us. It's not getting the nice. It's not getting the nice. I was getting some nice flow through on here. Oh, there we go. So the light coming in. That I did an alt light just to give it some, because with HDRP you don't get indirect light. So the light that's coming in here, look, if I turn off this area light, this is just because I'm just talking now, but so without this area light, see, you have the shadows and you have the light flowing in, but you don't have any of the indirect light that would be caused by this bright light coming in and shining off everything and throwing the light into it. So, but just to show you exactly kind of like with just one light, like how, just the main light and one other light, how freaking incredible, and how really this just took me just I just built a few small assets here just to put this together, just to show you. And this is the rock outcropping. When we're building levels, that's the thing where we'll need to really figure out. I can build a rock outcropping, but without an understanding of really where the gameplay is going to throw the eye, and if we're going to be looking at the back of it. Like if we go through the store and go on to the other side of this, well, how much geometry do we want to add on the opposite side to that's going to be efficient? Because right now I don't know that. So I put this together just to show you. It's like flush up, just kind of what we can do with the rock, and just this is just the one view. You go through that. You go through this door and it starts breaking down. But once the levels are understood, then we'll understand a lot about, like, I'll know what kind of geometry I can, what kind of geometry can be. Let's maximize this. See, so you have some pretty. See, and this is without any small assets. This is just the building. So imagine what with tiny, with all the assets they're going to be put in here, and the real polished ground. These are all polished, but the ground I threw in just to kind of show you what's up. because really I would have probably multiplied this texturing and made sure that it you know looked nice. Can be easily done if you like this kind of look, but yeah, see, and it just, look at that. I mean, I just, look at that. I mean, I just tossed it together, but we could manage these. They're very, very easily manageable to get them flushed up, and you know the even ones without the side geometry, because we know there's going to be some that don't need side geometry. That will be really easy to throw out later on. But you can see, I mean, with a little tiny bit of work, it builds a complete 100% intricate wall that is, you can develop in innumerable ways. And then if you need to, something else that the character can walk into and go into and check out what's inside, doorways, instead of, but this would lead them, technically this is all blocked off. It would lead them in from here, and they would go out there with, picking up little things, a battle here, just thinking, just figuring out kind of what we're gonna do and kind of how it's gonna look in its final ending. Okay, but anyway, that's those. We got some of our bounding buildings, and can throw them in many different ways. And okay, see you, man. Bye.